Okay, let's get back into this book, Synthetic Intelligence and the Transmutation of Humankind, a Roadmap to the Singularity and Beyond. We're getting ready to start Chapter 6, The Role of AI in Corporations and in the Media. But before I do, I've been rather, I don't know if distracted is the right word, I've been kind of pulled away into a topic that is just very dark. And just by chance that there's somebody watching this video, today is November 26, 2016. I don't know when you might be watching this video. Maybe today, maybe 5 years from now. I don't know. But just in case you haven't heard about this topic of hashtag Pizzagate, take a look at it, but be prepared to be shocked. Be prepared to be sickened. There's a really good chance that if you haven't heard about Pizzagate up to this point, then you really probably have not ever looked at the role of pedophilia, child trafficking, torture, just very dark subjects that are the elite of the world are involved in. And whether some people think that this topic should be dropped, some people in the truth movement thinks it should be dropped because it's going to be the end of the internet, blah, blah, blah. They're going to clamp down as a result of character defamation, different things, of things that can't really be proven. We should let the authorities take care of this. And but how's that been working for us so far? That's my question. Anyway, I don't want to go on and on about this, but just be prepared to just maybe even be sickened. I'm going to click on a few more of these pictures just for the heck of it. All right. All right, so let's go. Mainstream media's role in the Singularity movement cannot be emphasized enough. At first glance, it may seem as if the media moguls are ambivalent about the Singularity, but that is just the way the minions to the AIF, or Alien Invading Force, are told to play the game. The harder it is for the public to see through the real agenda, the better. Fed data that is both for and against AI, humans are easily confused about the agenda, and they quickly lose interest in finding out because they think there's nothing they can do about it anyway. Already being addicted to smartphones and electronics in general, the final decision will most likely be to go with flow, and thus they will indirectly take a stand for the machine kingdom. The temptation to upgrade their electronic devices is too difficult to resist, and the administrators and their minions' propaganda will lead the masses exactly where they want them to go. In the process of making the masses addicted to electronics, there is no scarcity of editors and columnists who write on this subject. The number of articles are voluminous, and information about robots, AI, and cyborgs are flooding the news media and magazines all over the world 24/7. When I mention this to random people at my workplace, they still know very little about AI and the Singularity in particular. They may have read an article or two, but when quizzed on the subject, they remember next to nothing about what they have read. However, if I ask them how the last football game went, many of them are very knowledgeable about the teams and the team members. The expression selective recall would apply. People have a tendency to compartmentalize what they don't want to know, and instead they put their attention on something that seems safe. Note that not all editors and columnists know the entire agenda. They just do their job, trying to analyze the situation. Their managers sometimes tell them that certain things are not acceptable for publication, and the columnists have to succumb to that decision without gaining the full comprehension of why some of their articles would be rejected. There are media presenting both sides of the situation, while others, such as the New York Times, have a more positive attitude toward the Brave New World and the New World Slave Order. The probability is that once people have reached a quasi-balanced view on the situation, the movement will publish a punchline that will tip the debate toward the positive. The administrators get what they want even after telling us almost everything about their agenda from different angles via different media. Their interdimensional hands are clean, or so they believe. In this chapter, we're going to explore how the media promotes AI. Yes, it's considered a promotion for the AI agenda, whether an article is for or against it. The entire subject gets the public's attention, and that's what the administrators think is important: conditioning the masses. A significant part of the AI presentation in the media is to promote its practicality in our everyday lives. What can relieve stress in people? What in their daily life can robots do to be helpful to the average Joe? Such practicalities are mostly directed toward the household. Japan has always been one of the forerunners when it comes to AI and robotic helpers. The British news media, the Telegraph, wrote in October 2015, quote, "Households around the world are likely to breathe a sigh of relief with the invention of a Japanese robot that will not only wash and dry clothes, but also sort them out, fold them up, and put them away neatly in the cupboard." The world's first laundry bot, dubbed the Laundroid, has been created by a team of Japanese technology companies in a bid to eliminate the tedium of carrying out one of the least popular household chores, unquote. This is something that will appeal to many people, if not to most people, who have this robot demonstrated to them. Just as the dishwasher and the washing and drying machines were considered a modern marvel when they first arrived, a Laundroid would be a desirable addition to the household of the future. Of course, robot helpers are not restricted to handling laundry. They can also do other household chores, such as vacuuming, putting things away that are in the way, sweeping floors, and taking care of other time-consuming tasks. What they show us now at public exhibitions are just prototypes of much more sophisticated robots that look more human-like and are more flexible, both in their movements and in their cognitive capabilities. However, there is an agreement amongst CEOs of multinational corporations, all alien invading force owned, and spokespersons for the controllers, not to overwhelm the market with too much sophisticated hardware and software at once. It's important to observe people's reactions. If their reactions are mainly positive, the companies can then take the next step and move up another level. Robots in the medical field. There is no doubt that advanced technology, advanced from a human viewpoint, could help people, animals, plants, and our environment. Here is a good example by the Washington Post in November 2015. Quote, "A young girl in the 5th grade has been diagnosed with a rare type of liver cancer and can't attend school. Instead, every weekday, a robot that's been dormant over the weekend is waking up in school and is taking the girl's place behind her desk. The robot, nicknamed PAVS, or PAVS, which stands for Peyton's Awesome Virtual Self, joins the daily activities in school, talks to the teacher, and can navigate through the classroom. Peyton, the little girl with cancer, can visualize everything through the robot, seeing through the robot's eyes via an iPad that is connected to PAVS. Peyton can then give her inputs via the robot and get feedback from the teacher. This way, Peyton can stay home and attend her classes remotely. It's difficult to object to such benevolent use of technology when it helps a very sick child to remain part of her friend's community via a robot and an iPad. It's a wonderful gift for Peyton, and it might help her to mentally overcome her cancer. This makes her more likely to respond to treatment. Technology in our 3D reality is here to keep us entrapped. Meanwhile, it could also be used to enhance our lives to a certain degree. Examples such as Peyton's paths will be used to systematically usher in the singularity. By showing the public what extraordinary benefits are awaiting us, the singularity will be the climax of all these benevolent ideas. The media have a huge responsibility to promote AI in such a way that it will win the population over in the end, or to make people relatively informed but passive, while the administrator-dominated market spits out new seducing technologies to trap the masses. As the expression goes, they give with one hand and take away with the other. There are many different projects running simultaneously. One such project is to cure or assist the disabled. The University of Washington is currently working on an implant that will be placed in the brain, which can make otherwise paralyzed body parts work again. It could primarily help people who have had strokes or spinal cord injuries to be able to move their limbs. This is, thus far, a project in progress, but scientists and researchers at the university say that in approximately 8 or 10 years, this technology could be applied to their patients on a regular basis. It all started not so long ago with soldiers returning from war with serious injuries, often including those who lost a limb or two, or their limbs were not working properly. At that time, a metallic arm or a leg that could be remotely controlled by the injured person replaced injured limbs. This was a breakthrough at the time and an introduction to how we can replace biological body parts with artificial body parts in an effort to introduce the cyborg agenda. These days they can do the same thing without replacing a non-functioning limb, by simply using this new brain implant, a more sophisticated way of replacing natural human abilities with artificial counterparts. Finally, for now, I want to discuss how the media very subtly introduce certain people with superpowers as being bionic. The following story is, in my opinion, a very sad and vicious example of how they take advantage of a very sick 10-year-old girl with a chromosome disorder. This girl never feels hunger or tiredness, and when injured, regardless how badly, she doesn't feel any pain. She was being dragged about 10 car lengths down the road, to her mother and siblings' horror, but afterwards she just stood up as if nothing had happened, although having lost her skin in several places. The article described her as a bionic girl with superpowers, and it gives us the impression that even though we should be empathetic with the girl and her family, this is also something extraordinary she should be proud of. In reality, this is a very dangerous abnormality, which can potentially send her to an early death because she can't feel the most important signals that help keeping her alive. Olivia, the girl in the article, is neither bionic nor does she have superpowers. She is just a normal girl with a chromosome disorder that will not benefit her in life, contrary to what the author of this article covertly suggests. Then, if we continue reading, we suddenly get an aha moment when we understand the purpose behind this unethical article. We get a better idea after we have watched the video following the article. The video is about a man with superpowers who can pull 3 motorcycles with his mustache, and another story is about a real bionic man with a robotic limb. It is totally unrelated to Olivia's disorder, but the author makes the connection by calling Olivia bionic. The author, and I would argue that was done purposely, is taking advantage of a term that is normally being used in transhumanism, and the videos related to the article clearly show the programming that undermines this article. Unrelatedly, but very cleverly, the author connects Olivia to bionic robots. This is one example of how the media subtly but very successfully sneak in the true singularity message in an otherwise empathetic story, and the unethical reporter happily does what her masters tell her. Moreover, she is doing it very well and will probably get a raise and a pat on the head this year. Dogs get pats on their heads, but so do underdogs. And then we're in the section Robots Assisting Humans in Daily Commuting. Now, there are not going to be any more stressed, reckless bus drivers who think they need to drive fast and roughly in order to keep their time schedule. In fact, there are not going to be any bus drivers at all. This thanks to a French idea about robo-buses driven by machines. Shortly, this idea will be a reality in San Francisco, and if successful, there are plans to extend the project to the rest of the U.S. This is, thus far, a short-range vehicle, taking about 10 passengers and driving them on the last short trip to the bus station. However, this is, of course, a modest introduction to something bigger when machines will control all public transportation. Another invention soon to be produced by Toyota will add an extra component to the machine kingdom. The company is about to release a companion for people who feel lonely when driving on the road. In the beginning, a 4-inch tall robot will be introduced. This robot can gesture, read our moods, and talk to us while we're driving. The next step will, of course, be an android sitting beside us in the passenger seat, and we won't be able to tell whether it's a human or an artificial being. This technology is already here, albeit still waiting to be released. When it's on the market, we will be able to choose what kind of personality this companion will have, and we can get an attractive robot of the opposite sex if we so desire. These kind of robots will soon be on the market. The entire idea reminds me of HAL in Stanley Kubrick's movie 2001, A Space Odyssey, which is based on Arthur C. Clarke's book of the same title. In June 2015, the Japanese company, SoftBank Robotic Corporation, sold all of its 1,000 robots the same minute they were up for sale. They sold for $1,600 apiece, and a $200 monthly fee was required on top of that. These robots, that could be used as driver companions, not only can read the driver's emotions, but they can also express their own emotions. As a side note, the same Computer World article also mentions a hotel in California where they have hired a robot working as a butler, serving the meals to the guests and showing them to the rooms. This new idea has become a business success. Regular buses with robotic drivers may still be on hold for a while, but driverless cars are a big deal right now. And who is one of the main supporters of this technology, if not Google? Not only does Google support it, it also produces them under an umbrella company called Alphabet Inc. This was announced by Bloomberg.com in December of 2015, where it stated that Google intends to introduce these driverless cars already this year, i.e. in 2016. Is this realistic? Absolutely. In fact, as of December 2015, these vehicles had already driven 1.6 million miles on public roads, mainly in the San Francisco, California, and Austin, Texas areas. However, before they are released to the public, these vehicles will be used on campuses and in the military. There we have the military again. Google executives say that they have no immediate plans to release these driverless cars on the market, but there are other companies, such as Uber, spending some of the more than $10 billion they have raised in private markets to develop and produce self-driving cars. If Google will not go all the way, Uber most likely will, and there are other companies that want to be in on this as well. Uber has recruited dozens of autonomous vehicle researchers from the well-known Minion-controlled front, the Carnegie Mellon University. The official purpose for producing self-driving cars, according to Uber, is to reduce the massive number of accidents currently occurring on the road with human drivers. Okay, I'm going to pick there to stop. this is a very important information in this chapter, but I was also tempted to really skim through it, not even read most of it, just because to me, while it's important, it's just a little hard to get all excited about some of the stuff, but that's part of understanding this whole psyop that's really already well underway being released on us, I think. So that's it for this one, and we'll pick up here next time with microchips next time. So talk to you then.